Here we go.
Hey guys, how do you know when you're really ugly?
Ugh, how do you know?
When your dog's humping your leg and his eyes are closed.
Oh, come on. That's bad.
Oh man. Hey man.
Yes.
Welcome to the big bad broadcast, dude.
Good afternoon and welcome to Black Friday, our 100th anniversary show of the Big Bad Broadcast. And we got a special guest for you today. We have Ray Romano. And I'm John Ferrantino, and we got Craig Mitchell.
Greetings.
And we got Mike Grief.
Hello, Earthlings.
And it's great to have Ray Romano here, an old friend, and I haven't seen him in since Vegas, 15 years ago. Yeah, but he's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's movie,
no, not true. Not true.
TV.
Not true. He's not here with me right now.
So what's up, Ray?
Nothing, man. How's it going? Wait a minute. Let me, Mike. You and I must have worked together somewhere, right? Or no?
The last time I remember working was in Governors. It was a while ago, but yeah, we did something in Governors.
And Craig, did you and I?
Yeah. The last time I met you, you actually named where we worked. And I couldn't believe you remembered, but it was Toppers. Remember that? Toppers in Brooklyn.
Toppers, yeah.
Yeah. We did two shows there together. I think Louis C.K. was the middle in one of our shows.
Oh wow! And John, I know you and I worked a bunch of stuff together. Yeah.
Well, this is very funny. I don't know if you even know the story. We were both had the same manager, Rory Rosegarden, and Rory sent me on an audition once in New York City, and Ray was on before me, but I didn't know Ray, and he just killed. I mean, he just killed doing my favorite bit he used to do about everyone on the road other than his dad was a hump. Right.
Oh, yeah. I call it calling everybody a hump. Yeah.
And the last line of it about this hump would just move his cart, the Yankee Stadium line or whatever it was.
The hump would what? Move?
Was that the line? It's like, we're lost, Dad. We're totally lost. No, we're not lost, Ray. If this Amish hump would move his cart, we'd be at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
But anyway, the reason why I went home the next morning and I called Rory and I go, Rory, I just worked with this phenomenal comedian last night. He's hysterical. You need to look at this guy and book him. He goes, who is it? I go, Ray Romano. He goes, yeah, he's already one of mine.
Yeah. Well, you know how I got Rory was I didn't have a manager, and I entered that K-Rock contest with K-Rock had a comedy contest, and the winner would get 10 grand, and the finals, he was one of the judges. Rory was one of the judges. And or maybe the semifinals, and Howard Stern was the judge for the finals, I think. So he was one of the judges. That's the first time I met him, and then he signed me, and then I won the 10 grand, and I had to give him 15%.
Wow. Look at that.
Was that 1988?
Shit. No, it might have been. Let's see. I got married in 87. Yeah, it might have been 88. Yeah.
I remember people telling me I should go out for that. I was doing comedy for 6 months. I'm like, what are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a little. Here's a little story that I've never told in an interview. I used to dip into gambling a little too much, right? And I got married in 87, and I've never revealed this to anybody, but I had a little bit of a problem then, and I lost. My wife didn't know this, but I was gambling, and we didn't have a lot. We had about 10,000 in the bank account, and I fucking can I curse here? Sorry.
Yes, you can. Of
course. Yeah.
I lost it all. I lost the 10 grand, and I had to fess up. I hit rock. I lost everything.
Oof.
And then some. It's all relative. 10,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's all you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just a newly married couple, and my wife she didn't even know I was gambling. She was devastated. I went to GA.
You were doing what? Online gambling?
No, there was no online gambling back then. There was no online.
Oh, okay.
No, I was calling a bookie up. I had a bookie. Yeah.
I've done that.
Right. So I hit rock bottom, and I said, "There's nowhere to go." So I told her, and we worked it out. I went to meetings and blah blah blah, but she was, she came from this Italian immigrant family who just, his father owned a fruit stand. Money, work was everything. It was just work, save money.
Right.
It was so foreign to her, and so she was devastated, and so I stopped. I had to stop cold turkey gambling. And 3 months later, I won the 10 grand at the K Rock. So I got it.
Wow.
Look at that. God just peeled off a little miracle for you. You know what I mean? It's like, Ray, just don't do it again. I'm gonna have to slap you down.
Exactly.
If only Pete Rose had your resolve. That's all I can say.
I was telling these guys how we did so many TV shows together, you and I, with Rory. And I remember this was, this will bring back a memory. After you were on stage, Rory would be running, and not just you, any of us. Rory would be backstage running around with his phone going, somebody dial 911. There was just a murderer out there. There was just a murderer out there.
They used to do that when I got off stage too, John, but it was a little different.
But you had a knife. You had a knife, Mike.
But I want Ray, man. I told you we've seen the movie, but Somewhere in Queens is just it's just phenomenal, man. It's like I told you I was gonna kind of pissed at you because you made me feel, but I did. I cried like 4 friggin' times. And you know what? I got to play like tough guy. I got my wife sitting next to me. We're watching the movie. And she's looking over. She always does this to me. I hate it. She goes, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No, I'm not crying. Just you got to pretend like you're not crying, but it's like coming down, and it's a really great movie."
Let's back up this whole story. Let Ray just tell about the movie first.
Yeah,
about the inspiration and the whole bit.
Well, the movies. When Raymond ended, I'm going way back. When Raymond ended, then I didn't know what to do next, and we created this show called Men of a Certain Age.
Right.
I love that show too.
Love that show.
Got Bacula. Man.
That was one of my favorite.
Andre, I can't think of his name.
Yeah. It only lasted 2 years, but we got good reviews and all. And then when that ended, I really didn't know what was next. And I said, I've never written a screenplay. And I asked one of the writers there, because they're all out of work too. And I said, you want to collaborate and maybe write a screenplay, And he had never written one either. He said, yeah. So we started doing it. And at the time, my son, who is 6'5", was graduating high school. And he's played varsity basketball. And he played with 2 guys who are in the pros now. I don't know if you know the Holiday brothers, but Drew Holiday and his brother Aaron Holiday, they're both in the pros. So it was so exciting for me to watch him play. And I knew he wasn't going to play in college because 6'5", they made him a center.
Right.
And if you follow basketball at college, 6'5" is a guard in college.
Yeah.
Right.
So he had no guard skills. So we knew his basketball career was over. And in that last game, if they made if they won the game, they were going to go to the playoffs. But they lost the game on the last second basket. And it was so heartbreaking for me because I was going to miss it. I was going to miss watching him play, living vicariously through him. And if I'm being honest, this is pathetic. I missed the attention that I was getting by having my son be one of the star basketball players. Like I wasn't getting enough attention. I'm on 2 TV shows.
After 9 seasons.
No, I get it. I live vicariously through my son. He's in prison. So I'm living. No, I'm just
right. But that's what I thought. That was the jumping off point was, what if this was about a poor guy who had nothing else? He felt very small in his life and his son made him feel like somebody and it was ending. So that's where we started. And it took years to write a script. And then my agent, when the movie was getting ready to be made, my agent talked me into directing it. I had never directed before. And I first was scared out of my mind. And he kind of convinced me that the story was, it was semi-autobiographical. It was too personal to give to somebody else,
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know nothing. I said, I know nothing about the technical side. I don't know a lens from a thing, from a whatever. And he said, Chris, he manages Chris. He represents Chris Rock. He said, Chris Rock has done 3-4 movies. He doesn't know shit either about any camera. You get yourself a cinematographer. That's great. You get an AD who's great. And you tell him what you want and then you worry about the acting also. I knew everything about what I wanted the story to be. So I did it. I jumped off the cliff, and it was frightening, man. It was really scary. But I was happy I did it. When it was all said and done, I was happy I did it. And now it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And hopefully more people see it like you and cry.
Well, you know what? Because you know what? Well, let me ask you. Like, is the really first of all, the first thing that really touched me was I think we have if it's biographical, your relationship with your dad on it, man, was because I was the same way. It's like I had brothers that were like successful and smart, and I was like the basically the warehouse working. So it was always that kind of like, even my younger brother became the alpha male, like in the film.
Yeah.
So it was like.
Played by Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah. And
right.
so all of that stuff. And then all this, like you say, the stuff you're doing for your son. And I could see that. It was like the love. And it was that twist because I didn't realize it until somewhere in whatever when you said it, that you were doing that for you and not for the kid. I thought
it was a little both. It was a little of both, Yeah.
Well, when my son played football in high school, and I used to go to every game, and I'd sit there, and it's a thrill watching your kid play sports. I mean, meanwhile, my other daughter's winning every Scholastic award, but I'm watching my kid hit people. And I remember sitting next to one of the dads who was at every game, and we go, "This is so much fun, man. Like, even when they stop playing, when they graduate, let's just keep coming back, And we came back to 2 games, and we were like, yeah, this isn't the same.
It's not as fun.
Yeah. Talk about directing. My daughter had a Broadway play that was just bought as a movie, and they want her to direct it. And that's what's hit home with you saying, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And they were just saying to her, well, who knows this story? Who can feel this story more than you? Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. I mean, I knew every moment, and I knew exactly the vision I wanted. And even having said that, actors bring their own thing to it too. And I was open for that too. But as far as knowing the technical side, as it pertains to your daughter, I don't know if she's made a decision on that or not. But
yeah, she's gonna try. But she has some help. She has some help, good help.
Yeah, that's all you do is you surround yourself with people. I found a DP, a cinematographer who the main thing for me was that I was comfortable with him knowing that he's going to have to hold my hand through this. I'm going to have to tell him, listen, I don't know how you get this look, but I want it to look like this movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he knows what to do, and I found, I found a guy that was great at that. And there's an assistant director who's important. And then I also had my co-writer, we wrote it, and he was there. We sat with this script for years. So he was my guy, because when I'm on screen acting, I also need somebody there telling me, telling me
But you did a phenomenal job acting too, Ray. I mean, like, when you're in the car talking to the girlfriend and you're talking about your son, that was one of the times when I'm like, it's like.
I wanted to ask, because you work with so many people, but one of the people I idolize is Laurie Metcalf, and I just want to get your thoughts on working with her. So I adore her work, man.
Yeah, no, she's unbelievable. And that was one of my fears of directing was, we're going to have real actors out there,
yeah, but you hold your own without a problem.
I know, but
man.
it's one thing. Yes, I don't. I'm
Peter
not.
Boyle
I wasn't intimidated as much acting beside her. I was more intimidated directing her. Like what happens when I just feel, on a very rare occasion, that I feel like she's making a choice that we were thinking a different choice, and you got to be delicate with actors. And how do I do that? And here comes sitcom boy who's trying to tell her.
It's sitcom boy.
Well, that's what was my fear was. You never know. You hear stories about temperamental actors, but thank God, man, she was easy as could be, collaborative as could be. She even told at the end, she said, "You're one of 2 directors that I would I would work with at any time. You know,
Oh, that's
So,
fantastic.
Wow.
I found
that's
a way. I found a way to, as comedians, we know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
We're very. I don't want to sound like I'm patting myself on the back, but you do have that ability to know how to handle a situation or whatever.
Yeah.
And I use that, and I'm giving myself too much credit. To their credit, they were the nicest people to work with. Even Tony LoBianco, who plays my father, he scared me even more in the beginning.
Right.
That was I freaked out when I saw him. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah, because he's old
Great
school
actor.
and he's been
Yeah.
around. He's done everything, but he was the sweetest guy, man. He was really nice.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
but you know, Ray, you come off all the time. I mean, a whole life, and I've known you so long as the regular guy.
Yeah.
So you don't come off like,
Yeah.
which is so much to your credit. And the way you're the guy on, I mean, you're one of the few people that when you see you, even on the show or in real life, you're like the same guy, which is
Yeah.
no.
Well,
You know what I mean?
it helps to be so insecure that you can't be a dick. You know, you can't be a dick.
Yeah, but you know what, Ray's right. It's like for at least from my point of view, because I've done a lot of sitcoms and a couple movies and whatever, nothing like. But the director's opinion, when he says something, it carries huge. I don't care how big a star you are. I'm sure it carries a lot of weight. And if it's said in the wrong way, it could be like soul crushing. You know?
Yeah.
So-
I luckily I haven't worked with directors who are like that. You know, there may have been one or two that aren't the warmest and all, but for the most part, they're pretty decent. You know,
Because I had one guy say to me, it was like, and this is years ago, and it's like it was the most hurtful thing. It was a little part in some Hallmark movie or something, and he came up to me and he said, "Man," he goes, "I see you acting," and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like fucking crushed. You know, I was like, I wanted to go kill myself in the dressing room.
What I think is so funny about this whole conversation is I remember riding in a car with you, Ray, when right after the Letterman thing where you got, the chance of doing Everyone Loves Raymond. And I remember you looking at me and going, what do I know about acting?
Well, but that was rightfully so, because I don't know if you remember, 4 months before that, I got fired from news radio. I was
Right.
Do you know that story?
Yeah. Was that must have been like devastating. You thought that was your big break, and maybe
Oh my God. I called my wife up. I had to go to LA to read for the network. And I went, and we had 3 little kids then. We had the twins and my daughter, and we're living in Queens. And I called her up to say, I got it, and I'm going to be making $8,000 an episode. Okay, which it is a lot of money to a lot of people, and it is.
It's a lot of money to me.
But in the scheme of what these sitcom actors get paid, it's
Right.
real small. But
Some of them get 35,000 a week.
we were over the moon. We were over the moon, though.
Yeah.
8,000. Holy shit, 8,000 an episode. And then 2 days later, I called her up and to tell her I just got fired.
Wow, that must have been really crushing.
Oh, God.
I mean, I got to be honest. I'll be honest with you. So we went to rehearsal. I read for the network. The next day, we had a table read, and then right from the table read, we went to rehearse, and I was with Phil Hartman. Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan took my place.
Right.
Phil Hartman, Maura Tierney. We knew this was getting picked up. This show was going on, and Andy Dick, I remember, was on it, and I could tell at the table read, I felt a little bit in over my head, and then at the rehearsal, I felt a little bit like I was just not ready. I wasn't shown. I was trying to pretend like I had it, but I felt it in my bones. And the next morning, Rory calls me, and I'm in the hotel, and the phone rings at 6:30 a.m.
Oh man.
And it's Rory, and as soon as Rory says hello, what's he calling for me at 6:30?
Right.
And he said they're going in another direction.
But it's definitely the classic, the classic blessing in disguise, because if that hadn't happened,
Yeah.
Right.
Did you study with Joanna Bexon?
I did, yeah.
Okay, that was my acting teacher. I mean, I think the comedians. She was great with comedians. She
had a class. She had a special class for comedians.
Yeah.
Who wanted to to go back.
That's why I first did, because I thought, people were asking me back in New York to do sketches, like when Louis got the job on Conan and whatever, and do sketches. And so I was like, man, I might as well learn how to act. And I took, it's like, wow, man, it's like something else.
Yeah, I've spoken to her since then, but I haven't spoken to her in years. But
Rory has had a way to break news to you too. I remember once this big manager guy, agent that handled Crosby, Stills and Nash, said to me, I'm going to handle you. I know Rory, and have Rory call me on Monday. I call Rory. Rory goes, "This guy's the biggest. This is a huge career break for you." And then the next day he gets killed in a helicopter crash.
Oh no!
With Stevie Ray Vaughan, right?
Oh my God!
And this is the way Rory breaks it to me. He calls me up and goes, "Turn on the TV. It's a cruel world.
Man.
It's a cruel world."
Oh shit!
Oh, by the way, Frank Santarelli said to say hi, man. I'm just friends with him on Facebook. And first thing in the movie, you see Frank, and then at the end you see him, and so it was like, oh man, he goes. So he's a huge fan. He just when I told him, said you were going to be on the show, he was like, oh, I can tell me. So
he was funny. He was funny, man. Yeah.
And I saw Harry Friedman, which lets me know that you didn't have my phone number, but
Harry the surfer.
I'm available, Ray. Very available.
Well, I had to, believe me, I had to get Harry in there. Yeah, he did good. He did good, though. He did good. Yeah.
So I read somewhere or heard somewhere you had like your kids were in the movie, or your family was in the movie in the big scene?
My kids were. Well, listen, I don't expect you to know every scene, but the kid who's pencil guy.
Yes, I remember the scene. Yeah, the girl talks to him because
that's the one who played basketball. I don't know if you can notice he's 6'5", that kid in the pencil.
And there's the cheerleader guy too, right?
The lead cheerleader is one of the twins, Matt, the one who.
Oh, that's awesome.
Russo, yeah, and then like here was the only good side to COVID, doing a movie during COVID is, I'm doing a movie, my first one in Queens, where I grew up. Everybody is going to want to come and be on the set,
right? Yeah.
But COVID, no one was allowed. No one was allowed on the set. And listen, I love all my friends and people, but it would have been too much to handle,
Yeah, definitely.
So the only way I could get, like, Rory wanted to come, and I go, Rory, they won't even allow you on the set. But why don't you just be an extra? So he was an extra. I don't know. You probably don't know.
I didn't see him.
If you look when the kid in the diner is reading his first poem to her,
right.
And he's saying, "My eyes, they only 3 words."
Right.
If you look over his shoulder, Rory is sitting in the booth.
That's awesome.
Now I got to watch it again. Now I got to watch it. Now I got to cry some more. Dang.
Yeah. But also in all the scenes in the catering hall, when they're all dancing, that's my wife and all her relatives are.
Oh, how cool is that?
That's so cool.
That is very cool.
That scene there though, when you're drunk and that whole thing, that was another.
Yeah.
Man, Manfredi, the fight, right?
And Manfredi was terrific.
Oh yeah,
too.
Manfredi. Yeah, he was really good.
A fellow Met fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a diehard Met. And who's the Met fan? You guys?
Me. Oh yeah, I'm a huge Met fan.
And Jets too.
Jets
too.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with this new quarterback.
I don't know, man. We're at the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Marcus Semien, yes.
Well, they're starting the other guy. They're starting
Boyles.
They are?
Yeah. They're
I did not know that. I saw that they took Semien onto the roster today.
Simeon's number
2.
Backup.
And Wilson's number 3 now. They're all dressing. They're all dressing for the game, but they're starting Boyle. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's
Boyle
a
played great.
name.
Boyle played great in 2 exhibition games. Then he went down the tubes.
He didn't play well after that.
No, he the first 2 games he was like, "Wow, hey, we found something," and then it was the interception machine.
Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers is busy working out, trying to come back. So
I
I
know.
know.
Oh,
I
God.
mean,
But he won't
how
come.
is that so typical Jet style? You're so excited about the season. This is it. We finally got something. We got a great defense. Four
Well,
plays in.
You know what
It's
though?
like
At least they disappointed you right away.
yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
They
Well,
didn't
were you
keep you.
watching Hard Knocks? Did you watch?
oh
Hard Knocks?
yeah, it was like watching porno for the Jets.
Oh my God! I kept saying, "Take it down a notch, man." 'Cause, I mean, everything was like, "This is it." There's no doubt. And I kept telling my boys are diehard. I
Right.
go, just calm down. Just pace yourself because this is the Jets, and you never know.
A couple
my
of years,
kids-
a
You
couple of
never
years
know.
ago, for my birthday, my kids gave me a T-shirt that said "Number one Jet fan, number one Jet fan, 50 years of agony."
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
were you a fan? Were you a fan during Namath? Because I wasn't even a fan yet.
Listen,
No.
I was a fan since '62. I was
Okay, so at
12.
least you
The
had.
Titans.
No, I never. No, 1968 or 9, the year they won, I was too busy running around being a hippie and being at Woodstock.
Oh,
It was the only year I didn't follow them.
You
The only
you were
year
a
I
fan when
didn't
they were the
follow them.
Titans back in '62,
That was the
man.
only year I didn't follow them.
That's
Okay,
funny.
well, let's get back to some stuff for our
Boy, let me
viewers.
just say this in case
Okay.
any Jet fans are listening. I'm not giving up this year. I'm still.
I'm not giving up either.
Yeah,
All right.
at least he's not Browning Nagel. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you know what I wanted to go. You're still doing stand up, right? I mean, I was kind of surprised to hear that.
Oh, the Mirage. Yeah.
You're going to be in Vegas, right?
I'm going to be in Vegas December 2nd at the Mirage. I do the Mirage.
You need a ride? I mean,
I do the Mirage like 4 or 5 times a year, and I used to do it co-headline with David Spade.
right.
Oh, okay.
But he dropped out, so now I'm going solo now. With Manfilati. Manfilati's opening up for me.
Oh, that's
Awesome.
cool, man. That's
Um,
very cool.
And then whenever I'm in the city, 99% of the time, if I have a night free, I'll go into the Comedy Cellar.
Oh man,
That's
cool,
great.
cool. I remember the old days of hanging out there, man. Just watching you guys. Like I think you were a couple years ahead of me, and so I'd go down there and watch you and David Tell and all the guys. It was just
I know. I mean, there was a nice class that came out of this. Jon Stewart, Louis C.K.
yeah, those were the
Yeah.
days. Jon Stewart. I remember when he first got his
Is
thing
that
on
club-
MTV. They
is
used to
that-
call me up. I used to do sketches for all his MTV shows.
Is that Cafe Wa still open?
Cafe was there, but they don't own it anymore. But you
Right.
know what they have now? The Cellar. They have around the corner the Village Underground, which is all comedy.
Okay.
Right.
And then on top of the Village Underground, they have 2 lounges that they do comedy there. Every show sold out. Every
Wow.
show waiting list only. And on the corner is a McDonald's that went out of business. He bought the McDonald's. He's going to open up a theater style comedy room there.
Wow,
Oh, wow.
it's time to get
That-
back into it.
Because I remember
Yeah,
we
really.
used to do TV shows and you'd do the comic strip, Dangerfields, shoot down, do the early show at the Cellar, Cafe
Oh, yeah.
Wa.
Wasn't the
late
Boston
show at
Comedy
the
Club
thing.
right around the corner too?
Boston was right up where I was across the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I used to, when I didn't go on the road as much, I would go on the road once a month, maybe twice the most. So otherwise I had to stay in the city and do as many spots as I could on a Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
But I used to have to drive. Yeah, you're right. I used to do the Comedy Cellar early show, then Stand Up New York early show, then comic strip early show, then come back and do the middle show. And it's that.
Yeah.
But now the Cellar is such a powerhouse with all those shows. They have 3 shows a night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Wow.
In each of those clubs,
That's
you can
insane.
stay right in the corner on that block and do all your spots there.
Wow, that's cool.
That's
That is
insane.
very cool, man. It's a
You
good
know,
time to
I-
live in New York. Maybe I'll move back. I don't think so, though.
Where do you live? Where do you live? You're
I'm about 45 minutes from. I used to live in Burbank, so I'm about 45 minutes. I'm down in Burbank again.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You mentioned you and John doing the Mirage on the 2nd, and I got to tell you, I have this. I don't know whether you call it a talent or whatever.
No, we don't call it a talent.
That's true. I remember one joke from almost everybody I worked for. I remember my favorite joke of yours from this is over 30 years ago when you were talking about your dog and you would throw bologna to him.
Yeah. What's funny is sometimes
That's one of my favorite
sometimes
jokes.
I'm getting to that age where guys quote some of my jokes, and I don't even remember doing them. But
Yeah.
that one I know. That one I could.
Well, I know the one. I know one you'll definitely
That's such a-
remember. You say after you had your kids, you don't know what's funny anymore, and you pull out your keys and you're shaking.
That's the
your
greatest.
keys.
That's
Is
the
that-
greatest joke of all time.
That's,
That's my opening.
That's the greatest
opening.
joke of all.
And
And the
Matt
tag,
Frolati.
and the tag is funny too. I'm glad you laughed. Others have to rub my nose in your belly.
That was
which
my
is-
opening joke on my Letterman spot,
Yeah,
and that led to Everybody Loves Raymond. 'Cause
Wow.
That's awesome.
and that led to
Wow.
Rory running around backstage to 911. It was
It's a murder. It's a murder. And Matt Frolati's joke, which was one of my favorite jokes of all time, was Phil Rizzuto's dream about getting into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah,
Running
yeah.
slow-mo, and then the door. Bam. I still laugh at that, and it's like 30 years ago. Still,
You know what, man? I love John. John's one of my best friends. He's got the same 12 minutes from 30 years ago. Not for that. He doesn't do Rizzuto.
We know guys like that. Al
You know what,
Romero's like that.
I know about a year ago, I went to see Brian Regan at this big theater. And I had never seen this before at a comedy show. When he walked off, at the end of his show, and he was coming out for an encore, and people were screaming out bits like a song, like at a concert. Ironing board.
Were chicks throwing their bras on there?
Science fair. No,
walking on the moon. Walking on the moon.
I had never seen that before in my life at a comedy show.
No, he's unbelievable the way he writes, and listen, I'm friends with Brian too, and he gets me so jealous because he'll also go play a club, in the middle of nowhere or whatever, and they'll do a Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and do a different show each night. He'll do
Wow.
He'll say Friday it's the A show, Saturday it's the B show. So the same people could come back on the Saturday.
And see, the
reason why I brought up Brian is when you're talking about John Manfilardi years ago, when I used to work the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale, Manfilardi and Brian Regan were the cooks at the comic strip.
Really?
Yeah, they were the cooks. Yeah, they were the cooks. And Joe Mullen would go, I'm leaving for the night. Remember, steak or shrimp, no surf and turf. And he'd leave. And as soon as they'd leave, they go, you want some shrimp with that steak?
I know that's where he started, John.
Yeah. And it was, so that's how I know. That's how long ago I know him from. And Brian was the other cook, you know?
John has the funniest line, not in his act. The funniest line anybody ever said to me was, I got to set it up a little. I'm a neurotic person, okay? And I do these little mind bets where, like, if I go golfing, if I don't break 90, I can't golf again for a week, right? So I do these, and I stick to them. And they're obsessive and they're crazy. So when John and I used to go out and do a little tour, we used to golf together. And I remember one week I told him, John, we're going to Dallas. I go, John, don't bring your clubs to Dallas. He go, why? I go, I lost one of my mind bets. I can't golf for 2 weeks. And he looks at me, he goes, because when you were 8, your father stuck his thumb in your ass. I can't golf now.
Stop revealing the family secrets, John.
I keep telling John, I something morbid. I go, I hope you die before me because I want to repeat that at your eulogy.
So wait, let's get back to, because a lot of people are going to want to know, and you're probably sick of talking about it, but let's get back to Everyone Loves Raymond a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So when that show first happened, right, I remember being in Rory's office, and remember there was a door of all the different names for the show? Remember, he would write all those names, the name that they were going to name the show.
Oh,
You didn't want Everyone Loves
I
Raymond,
didn't want
if I remember.
Everybody Loves Raymond. No, I didn't want it. No, it came out. That name came about. I wish people knew this because it seems kind of pompous to name your show Everybody Loves Raymond, right? But it was a sarcastic comment. My brother was a New York police officer, and he would come. He came home one day and saw that I won some Cable Ace Award or whatever for comedy, whatever for stand-up.
Right.
And he sarcastically said that line. He said, when I go to work, people shoot at me, they yell at me.
My God.
Look what happens when Raymond goes to work. Everybody loves Raymond. All right. So I told that story to Phil Rosenthal when we were writing the pilot, and he said, "Let's use that as a working title." And I said, "Please don't, because I don't want that to be it." He goes, "No, we'll change it when it comes." So he put it as a working title. CBS, Les Moonves falls in love with the title. He says, "This is going to be the title." I tell him, "Please no, I don't want it." He goes, "Give me something better." So I came up with.
Yeah, it was all on the back of the door. Remember? There was,
Yeah, it was a stupid.
Let's hear some of them.
Yeah.
I can't even remember them now. There was so
I
many
know,
of them.
I know them because they were so stupid. I had to think of something, and I remember Rory told me, "You got to keep your name in the title." Seinfeld in the title, the Drew Carey Show,
Right.
You know, Roseanne. You got to keep your name in it. So I came
Yeah,
up.
because Rory used to go, "Look, they can't kill you off. They can't divorce you. You're stuck on the show. That's why it's got to be Everyone Loves Raymond."
Your name's in the title, yeah.
Right.
So, but Les Moonves, the head of CBS, was saying, give me some alternatives, and we'll test them." So I scrambled, and he still has that piece of paper, and it's the stupidest things. Some of them are not that bad, like that Raymond guy. I swear to God, these were the choices. Raymond's tree, like the family tree, you know.
Right,
And then my favorite was comma Raymond. Raymond. So that was the list. So, and then CBS tested them. They did it. They did it in front of a test audience. They asked.
Right.
And Les Moonves told me, he goes, "Listen, we tested it, and Everybody Loves Raymond tested better." And I
Just
said,
walk it off, kid. Just walk it off.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And then he said to me, he actually said, because I joked around and I said, Les, listen, what if this becomes a top 10 show? I'm going to have to live with that title for the rest of my life. And he said to me, "Ray, if it becomes top 10, you can change it to whatever you want." And then 2 years later, when it was top 10, I said, "All right, how about it, Les?" And he says, "Well, you can't change it."
Yeah. You can't change it now. You know, it's not Gilligan's World. You know, they didn't get to change it. It was like,
Somebody asked me to ask you why your name was Barone. Does that mean anything?
No, you know, the story about that is we wanted an Italian name. I wanted it to be Italian, and I just knew, you know, it had to end in a vowel. And I don't know how we came on Barone. It just fell on us, you know.
You're in Los Angeles, right, Ray?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a place, a pretty famous pizza place near me called Baroni's, they call
Baroni.
it. Spelled the same way though.
Yeah, isn't it a penis disease, Baroni's?
Is that when your banana?
I wonder
is
if
that
that
when
had
your
anything to
banana
do
is
with it.
misshaped?
No, but there is a Barone's that I think we're talking about the same one.
Yeah.
When the pilot premiered, we had our viewing party at the Barone's.
Yeah, it's like in
But they call it
Studio City or somewhere.
Baroni's for some. I'm like, we're from New York, so it's like, no, it's Barone's. I'm like, no, Baroni's.
Well, you know what I wanted to ask you about, man, and this is probably, I don't know if you get it, but I love it. Welcome to Mooseport. You made a movie with Gene Hackman, man. I mean,
Gene, I love Gene.
I like
That was
fucking
my
it.
first one, first movie. Listen, I'm laughing because the critics did not love it. You know, the critics.
Mike loved it.
You know what? I fucking love that movie and fuck the critics. You know what I mean? It was
my first time out, and they crucified me.
But you want to know something funny? Once I was flying on a plane. I know we keep bringing Rory up, and Rory goes to me, "Who's the most underrated actor in the world?" And I go, "Gene Hackman. Put him in any movie. It's a great movie, right?"
Yeah.
And then I was reading, because I hadn't seen the movie, and I was reading all the critics, like stuff about how when it came out, and then also I see that Gene Hackman's in it. It just made me laugh. I'm like,
well, he was great, but there was one critic. You know, sometimes they like when they can write a bad review because they can make it funny. They can make that funny. You can't make a good review funny, you know. And one guy, I got to give him credit. He said, the quote was, "Ray Romano is a TV vampire, and 8mm film is his sunshine."
Fuck. Is he still around? I'll visit the guy, Ray. I'll
don't
fucking
know.
take care of this.
I don't know.
You know
Did
what?
you-
I don't care. It's a good movie, and I don't care what the critics say. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And,
I
and
always-
Over time, maybe it gets a little better, you know?
I read an interview once where you said you named your dog Moose based on the movie.
Yeah, we had the dog in the movie was this cool bulldog, and we me and my kids came up to the set. We all fell in love with him. So when we got a dog, I think it's like a relative of his brothers had puppies, so it's one he's related to that dog. So we
Right.
named him Moose. Yeah,
cool.
he was a great bulldog. A great.
Do you
snapping
remember
bulldog.
this? It'll be hard for me to do this without doing my Ray impression, which I know you hate. When I was in the hospital and you called, I had really massive surgery and I was laying in the hospital bed and I just got out of recovery and the phone rings and the nurse goes, "There's somebody on the phone that says he's Ray Romano." And I go, all right. I go, and she goes, "Who would do that?" I go, "It's probably him. Put him on the phone." Do you remember what you said?
No,
I just got to do it in your
Oh,
voice.
wait a minute. I think I know, but I'll let you.
Like,
do it.
no, go ahead. No, you do it.
You do it.
Did I say walk it off?
Yeah.
Oh, see?
go.
You know what? He
go.
does. He does a better Ray Romano than you, John.
I know.
No, it was just like I pick up the phone. I'm like, I'm all drugged out, and everything, and all of a sudden I hear is "walk it off," and you hang up.
And I hung up. Oh, well, the hang up makes it because walk it
Yeah.
off isn't that funny.
You big pussy. Walk it off.
It was really funny, and I started laughing.
Oh.
She goes, "Is that it?" And I go, "Yeah, that's it."
That's
What
what
year
my
was this? When was this? How long
It's
ago?
like '96, I think.
walk it off. That's what my father said to me after my circumcision. Walk it off.
But I always remember that. It always made me laugh.
Oh, that's
Oh
funny.
man.
What kind of surgery was that? I forget.
Remember, I had a ruptured appendix, and it was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Were you
So-
trying to do the Houdini thing? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I was trying to.
Yeah.
I was trying to be Houdini.
Yeah, there you go.
Houdini. As
So what's-
Zabrowski would say, it's Houdinski.
Houdinski.
Nothing works.
So what's next, Ray? I mean, besides the stand up, you got anything in the fire? Any pokers in the fire?
Well, I'm trying to write another one. I'm trying to write another script. You know, I'll take another shot at it. Oddly enough, I was getting little offers to direct, believe it or not, from
Nice.
but I really can't see myself directing a script that someone else has written.
Right. Right.
But if I write another one, I wouldn't mind getting in there again. And then I have this other project that now it's going to seem a little ridiculous, but 12 years ago we tried to get this going. Because I've always thought that if I ever did a biopic, first of all, you want to look like the guy. Second of all, you want to really admire the guy. And those are two things that I have with Jim Valvano. I don't know if you know who Jim.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So Jim Valvano.
I don't know who he is.
Well,
Basketball coach and
okay.
college basketball coach.
if you want to see my favorite sports documentary, it's Survive and Advance. It's called Survive and Advance, and you'll learn about Jim Valvano.
You resemble him. You do resemble
and
him.
you'll start crying, Mike. You'll cry even more now. Oh my God, this one will make you cry so much.
Are you thinking about playing him? Because you do.
Yes,
resemble
12
him.
years ago, we wanted to do the story. He passed away. He won the championship with this not a ragtag team, but an underdog team. And then 10 years later, he passed away. But he was so inspirational, this guy. He was this Italian guy from Queens who got hired to coach this team in North Carolina. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he was this fish out of water, but he ended up winning the championship. So 12 years ago, we tried. And it didn't go through. The family wasn't behind it, and now the family's behind it. But he died when he was 48,
Wow.
And I keep telling my agent, how freaking old am I going to be? I mean, we're going to have to do what De Niro, what Scorsese did to make this believable. But that's in the works. We have a director, we have a script.
Awesome.
So that's in the works now. I just hope we get it done soon because nobody's going to buy it if I have to, walk out in a wheelchair.
It's like once when
Patches O'Houlihan.
when Max Alexander was auditioning for Roxanne, and Steve Martin said, "You're really funny, but you're supposed to be a fit fireman."
Yeah.
And he went like this: "I can play Finn."
That's
Play
great.
So, speaking of Scorsese, how was that?
Yeah, that was crazy. That was nuts. That was just
That's like a dream come true, right? De Niro,
yeah. It was,
Pesci, Romano.
yeah, I mean, talk about being frightened. I mean, that was the reason I got that was because I got onto this show Vinyl,
Right.
Vinyl, which Scorsese produced and directed the pilot. So he cast me in that. I got on his radar. By the way, he had never heard of me when we sent our tape in. He said, "I'm not kidding." He said, "This guy's in the running." He goes, "Who is he? I don't even know who he is." And I thought, "Oh, well, he's never watched the show." And they said, "No, he doesn't even know who you are."
No, Vinyl's a good show.
Yeah,
man.
but it was he don't watch TV, So it was a blessing though because he didn't have to erase the sitcom character.
Right. He was starting fresh.
So he cast me in Vinyl, and that was one season. And then when he cast Irishman, he just offered me the role, which scared me even more because in Vinyl, I put myself on tape. I auditioned for it. I put myself on tape. We sent it to him, so he saw what I was going to do with the role. So now he's just offering me this other role, and I'm like, all right, of course I'm going to say yes, but what if I can't do it? What if he doesn't like what I'm doing? So it was terrifying, and but it ended up being great. And of course, then my first big scene is with De Niro.
Right.
I'll tell you this little story. So it's my really the meatiest scene I have in the movie is me face to face with De Niro. I'm a lawyer who's going to represent him, and I'm asking him questions. Did you punch the guy? Did you hit the guy? Blah, blah, blah. I go back and forth. And the scene, it takes about 3 hours to film every angle and all this. And it's De Niro there, Scorsese there. And we wrap. We say, okay, that's a wrap. And we were in Long Island, actually. And I don't need people to tell me, hey, that was great. But I needed a little something.
Yeah.
Just say I didn't suck.
Yeah, from one of them, either from him or from him.
Or from the grip.
Yeah, right. And we wrapped. Everybody's going home. Everybody's gone, and I'm driving to the hotel. They were putting us up in a hotel, and I'm driving, and I'm on the phone with my wife, and I'm like, I don't know. I swear to God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get fired. I don't know nobody said anything or anything. And, and he goes, she's like, just calm down. I'm sure it was fine. I go, I don't know. And I get to the hotel. I'm checking in, and my mind is all, I'm fucking, oh, Jesus Christ. And it's about an hour after we wrapped. And I hear Ray, and I see it's De Niro. He's checking in too. He's with one of his guys, And I go, hey. And he doesn't say one word. He just walks over. He walks over. He grabs me. He kisses me on the cheek, and he walks away.
How beautiful is that?
That's beautiful. But it is a mafia movie, so sometimes the kiss on the cheek.
Oh my God.
I went to my room and I called my wife. I go, I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would have passed out. That's me.
You know what? It's good to know that I'm like not the only one who freaks out and nervous. Like I worry about it before, during, after, and it's like I'm the same way. It's like you always, and I think maybe it's a comic thing. We just always think we're not good enough.
It never goes away, man. It never goes away.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure that there's younger actors that feel the same way with you.
That's funny that you're saying that because I was just thinking that. Like I was thinking of these, like I'm writing this script and I was thinking of these. You know what it was? I saw the Albert Brooks documentary. Did you see Albert Brooks?
Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. I watched the Albert Brooks and I was just thinking, wow, if I met him, I would be very intimidated. And I was thinking, I hate to say how old I am. I'm 60 fucking 5. You know what I mean? I've paid a lot of dues too. Why does this keep happening that you still get it just as
you know what though? I look at it, Ray, and it's just, I think it's when it means something to me. It's important. If it wasn't important, I wouldn't give a shit and I wouldn't get nervous.
Right.
Well, because when we were growing up, these guys were, and they still are legends. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
legends.
It's
Yeah.
cool with all you've
Before
accomplished
you
that it's
even
still
were-
important to you.
Before you were even an actor, man, you saw De Niro in movies, and you were like,
I
"Oh
know.
my god!"
And-
you know.
And living out here, it's intimidating. I do you know Nate now the deli in Beverly Hills. Nate
I've
Now's.
heard of it. I've heard of it.
I'm at Nate Now's with my mom once, and I'm sitting next to Bob Einstein, Super Dave Osborne, which is
Yeah.
Albert Brooks' brother,
Yeah.
and I'm like frozen, because this guy, it's Super Dave, I'm waiting for a truck to come crashing through the restaurant, but no.
Yes,
So yeah, it's intimidating as hell.
Hey, I'm intimidated just going to Chin Chin's.
So I have one more. I have one more question, which kind of relates back to us. So I've read a few things, and they were saying how Mary Tyler Moore, you were like obsessed with her sitcom and stuff.
We
With the
weren't
Dick Van
obsessed
Dyke
with
Show?
it. We used it. It
Yeah,
was
used
one
it
of
as a
our-
thing.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing this up because she's my second cousin.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
She won't admit it, but
yeah. Well, she was my second cousin.
Well, yes, her show was one of the shows that we used as a template, of a style that we wanted to, and I was lucky because her and Dick Van Dyke, they both enjoyed our show, and I got to host a reunion. They had a reunion show,
Right.
Oh, that's right.
20 years ago, and I got to host it and meet her, and she was
Wow.
really cool. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, she's your cousin. Yeah. That's a
Yeah, well, it's so funny because we were talking about that last night. It's like the big family. First, she was like the dancing high point model.
the hot
She came
point.
out, but it would be so funny. This would be like my family. Quick, turn on channel 4. Mary's dancing around as a washer machine. Everybody have to turn on the thing. Quick,
That's
turn on the
She was
channel.
the hot point little devil.
But
Mary's
her
what?
documentary too. Did you
Yeah.
see it? That was a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
And
I
it's
didn't
just-
see it. But I gotta catch up on these. I want to see the Albert Brooks one definitely and Mary Tyler Moore.
Listen,
Ray, I just-
watch Survive and Advance.
Survive. You know what? I'm gonna actually write that down because I forget my memory is so bad. Survive in advance.
And then tell me if you don't start crying on that one, then something's wrong.
So Ray, I don't want to embarrass you, but my mother, God rest her soul, would never forgive me if I didn't say this. Because she always felt like she knew you because I worked with you twice in Brooklyn. So she always called you Ray. Oh, Ray's on. Yeah. And for years, one of the things, even when she was ill, we would watch Everybody Loves Raymond, and it was the highlight of our day. And I just wanted to thank you because
Oh, well, thank you.
even when she was down, she loved that show, and I'll never forget it. I just wanted
Karen's so funny. I remember once
Appreciate
years
that.
ago.
Thank you.
I remember once years ago, my dad went with me to a show, and it was me and Eddie Murphy, and we were coming home in the car. And my father goes, "That black comic is going to be a huge star someday."
Yeah.
To the day he died, my dad go, "Hey, remember that night I discovered Eddie Murphy?"
Yeah. See, in my house, Ray, you always be Manny the Mammoth. My grandson. He's like, oh, Ray Romano. Oh, is that Manny?
How old is your grandson? How
He's
old?
47.
He's not. He's
47.
no.
Yeah.
He's 9. He's 9 years old.
Even 9 is kind of up there to have a grandson. Right?
Yeah, well, look at who his grandfather.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for. I have 2 kids getting married next year.
How old is your oldest?
My oldest is 33. The cheerleader from somewhere in Queens, he's getting married. He's 30, and I
Cool.
told him, do not waste time. I put a bounty out. I put a reward out for the first kid that comes out.
Yeah, my son is 37, and I had the 9-year-old. It's great. It's
My
it's
son just got married a year and a half ago, and we're having a grandson. And I don't know grandson. I shouldn't say that. That'll be the first one. Yeah. Well, I have one with my
John's going to be
girlfriend.
there when it's born, and he's going to go.
But I
"Ta-da!"
keep saying grandson. Much to their credit, they don't want to know until a baby's born whether it's a boy or girl.
Did your daughter-in-law send you a picture of her stomach and it said danger, spooky stuff inside?
No, but they sent me. They sent me a thing that I opened up this envelope. My son goes, "I sent you a gag gift. Make sure you FaceTime me when you open it." So I open it up, and out comes a thing. It says, "Baby Ferrantino arriving with a cat scan," and then inside it was was a little T-shirt that said new number one Jet fan, Ferrantino, and I turned it over. It was my son's number from high school.
Oh,
and
man.
and Mike, to make you feel better, I got teary.
There you go.
Listen, I don't want to pass it around, and everyone's going to think Mike's
Hey, man,
crying over.
I'm at the age I'm crying. I cry at anything now.
Isn't it strange? It's like the older you get. I know. I see a commercial, and it's like, oh, the mother loves the kid. It's like
It's so funny. It's so funny when I don't know if you know about my daughter, but my daughter's a pretty successful playwright. She's had a bunch of shows on Broadway, a bunch of movies and stuff. She's got a new one coming out with Kristen Chenoweth. Did I say that right? Chenoweth. And she'll kill me because I never pronounce her name right. And Stephen
also
Schwartz. And
an Oscar winner, right?
T. Abrams Murray, and it's big Broadway show. And it's so funny because every time I go to one of her shows, I cry. I mean, I weep. And she goes, I can't believe you're crying again. And I go, first of all, I cry because it's touching. And then something inside me hits me like, I can't believe she wrote this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's amazing to me.
Yeah. Well, I was, like I said, last night, it's like at the end of the movie, when the kid's reading the poem and he says the line, there won't be no rematch. Yeah. I'm fucking bawling like a little girl. And it's like,
my favorite line, one of my favorite lines in Everybody Was Raymond was Kevin James did a guest spot. We're sitting on the couch, and Kevin, we were talking about crying, and he goes, "I cried. I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I cried." Right. And I said, "Why at that?" He goes, "Because the father was looking around for the shrunk kids, and it made me feel like I don't know if I shrunk. I don't know if my father would look for me, And I think Andy Kimler goes, well, you'd be easy to find. Just look for the little cookies running across the
floor. See, that's it. And then I watched the movie. I'm crying until afterwards. And this isn't even a lie. I had to watch a feel-good movie. I put on Patton. I had to get
feel-good movie.
Well, I had to shake the emotion out, So it's like, we'll forget a good war movie.
Balance it out.
I cry at Jardines commercials, so I don't even come into this conversation, man. When they start dancing, I'm crying. That's it. Done.
Yeah, it's funny, like different things, like once you get older, that make you cry.
Rudy,
it's so
Rudy. The end of Rudy.
Hey, I'm happy as long as it's not my prostate that's making me cry.
That was the funniest movie, the funniest line ever on King of Queens is when the father goes, my prostate's flaring like a tiki torch.
You mean, what's his name? Jerry Stiller. Right?
Jerry Stiller.
But it's so funny, as far as crying in movies, why do sports movies always make me cry?
Yeah. Rudy.
More than like love
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
Because there's always something heroic about it. There's always
the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Well, no, come on, not the Mighty Ducks.
Survive in advance.
Slapshot always makes me cry when the Hanson brothers are beating the
I love Slapshot. Yeah, Paul Newman says he learned how to ice skate for that movie.
Thank God. He's great in that movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
But so Vegas, December 2nd, huh?
December 2nd.
At the Mirage, man. I'm thinking about driving down. Maybe I'll come and check out the show. But
well, just let us know. We'll give you one ticket.
I wouldn't feel right. I want to pay full. Matter of fact, I want to pay extra to come.
There's gonna be a lot of empty seats. Trust me.
No way.
Come on.
Vegas is weird now. It's weird, It's a 1,200 seat theater. I mean, it'll be nice, but if it's full, that'll be a bonus. Yeah.
When you're in Vegas in the daytime, my daughter, I just flew to Vegas with my daughter on some private jet to see Barry Manilow. And while we were there, my daughter goes, I'm going to take you to something that you're going to be more excited with than anything you've ever seen in Vegas. And she took me to see Battle Bots.
Oh shit! That is exciting,
right?
It was so exciting. It's every afternoon, man. And when you're in Vegas,
I wonder if you could bet on it. You're in Vegas. I wonder if you could bet on it.
Oh man, I never thought of that. That's cool if you could.
Yeah, right. But
BattleBots is the best.
If I take the ride, I'll see if I'll call. I'll get the number from John.
Definitely.
But that would be cool.
All right, gentlemen. Listen, I love this talk. But I
It was absolutely amazing to see you, brother.
Have a
Thanks
great
for making our 100th
Thanksgiving.
episode really special, Ray. Appreciate
Have a
it.
great Thanksgiving, Ray.
You too. Do you guys
Say hi to
edit this?
Anna.
Do you edit this, or do you just throw it?
No, it's
No.
just gonna go.
We
Unless
don't
you
edit.
want, unless you got something you want us to edit.
No. I'm all good. Yeah. All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving, guys.
I hope you had fun.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving, Ray. It was
Let's-
really great to see you, man.
And let's not
Take
make
care,
it
man.
another 15 years, all right?
Yeah. You got it, man. You know, go through Rory.
Yeah, we'll see you in 15. We'll see you in 15 years then.
Oh,
guys.
man.
Thanks.
All right, Ray.
All
Thanks,
right.
buddy.
All right, Ray. All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye.
Ray Romano, ladies and gentlemen.
The Ray
Unbelievable.
Romano. What a great show, man. What a great guy.
Oh
What a
man,
great way to celebrate our 100th anniversary show.
That's
I don't
it.
know how we can beat that for our 200th. Who are
I
we
don't
gonna
know.
get? Robin Williams?
God.
Oh, we can't.
God.
We'll have Ray back. That should be in another 15
Yeah,
years. We'll call Rory and get Ray back. But
Okay,
anyway, man,
well.
so great show. And, hey, catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Playground, everywhere.
Everywhere,
Hey, I
Audible.
hope you're-
All right.
All right.
Right.
Well, that was fun.
Great show,
Okay.
guys. Once you
All right, everybody.
See you next week.